Morning everyone, it's Michelle here. Hope you're doing well. So the news is coming thick and fast in the Summer Wells case. I'm back in the woods because I want to give you a visual. I did this the other day and I think some people found it useful. I want to give you a visual of just what terrain looks like when it's heavily wooded with very, very thick underbrush. Now I live in the UK, I'm not in Tennessee. This is a nature reserve, it's very overgrown, it doesn't get cut. And there's a few acres here. Let's take a scenario that someone went missing in my local area. Like a kid went missing in my local area. And surrounding the parents' property was this woods. Now how easy would it be to search this entirety of this woods? Alright, so on the top of the hill now. But as we go down the hill, you can see very, very thick underbrush, dogs having a wee. And we get to kind of the more open part that's just, you know, outside of the trees over here. You know, the nettles, the ivy, it's higher than me. It's way higher than me. And that goes on past there all the way to where obviously the woods have been cut off because houses have been built. But if we go this way, and there's another few acres over here which was cut down. Some of it was cut down a couple of years ago because it was sold and there was going to be some development on it, but nothing happened. If we go around that, this is where I took you the other day, for those of you that watched me. You know, amongst the trees themselves, you can see some open areas. That's just natural. But if I take you through here, where there's no paths anymore, you see, I know this wood's like the back of my hands because I grew up round here. And I know where there used to be paths before it became completely overgrown. So let's imagine the scenario that someone went missing in my local area, but I was the one to do them in. I was the one responsible for their death, whether I murdered them or whether it was an accident that I needed to cover up. Right? I know this woods like the back of my hand. So the question is, could I find somewhere where it is sufficiently dense and sufficiently inhospitable that no one would ever find the body? I haven't done this, by the way. Don't take this out of context. Let's think about this, right? If an area is almost impossible to search because of the density of the undergrowth, wouldn't it also be impossible to hide a body there easily? I mean, it's possible, but easily. You get cut to ribbons, right? Whatever country you're in, where there's woods, there's spiky things. There's things that give you a rash if you're not careful. So when you've been there, people who see you shortly after are going to be suspicious because you're going to be cut to ribbons. You're going to be full of bites and scratches. Unless you completely covered yourself up, of course. But I can go through this with my legs covered, right, and still turn out with scratches because this part here is just so dense and pretty much impossible to get through without cutting, scratching. I mean, it's higher than me, or about as high as me in this area, and I can't see, when I put my foot down, I can't see an inch in front of me. I can break it all down, I can do this, break it all down, right? But you get nettled and scratched to smithereens and tangled. Why am I doing this, guys? Why have I spent nearly 6 minutes of this video doing this to you? For those of you who haven't switched off, there's a method to my madness. So I'll get out of this underbrush and we can have a chat. Yesterday evening my time, duty Ron, interviewed the head of the search effort, the new search effort, EquiSearch, that has gone to Rogersville to search for summer. And I was a little bit surprised. I mean, they haven't found anything. That's not the surprise. The surprise for me, as someone who kind of knows wooded areas very well, that they were going off hunches. I heard somewhere, and I can't remember which channel I heard it from. You could give me a pointer in the comments. I guess it's not that important. Like, a new expert search effort had come because of a tip. That's what I'd heard. That's what I was assuming. And they were strategically searching very specific areas. But the search man, I think his name was Dave, said that he was going off hunches. That's fine. Everybody can have a hunch with next to no information. Then all you've got is a hunch. And based on his experience of finding bodies or finding people alive even, maybe he can say, right, get into the mind of someone who might hide remains, where would you go? Now I'm doing exactly that process here whilst talking to you. If I was going to hide a body, where would I go? Well, I'm telling you now, I would not go into somewhere that is heavily wooded because of threats to injuries to myself that might get noticed by law enforcement. That's the first thing I'd think about. And because I know this, not just this woods, but there's a couple of miles of, there's a bit of farmland, and then beyond that, through these trees, there's a field there. There's a field there where the farmer puts sheep. But beyond that, you get woods and fields, again like this, that are pretty much untouched. There's a disused quarry about, I don't know, a mile or so in that direction. And there's a whole plethora, do you like that word? Plethora of tunnels that very, very few people know about. I know about them because I went through them all as a kid. A search team, unless they'd kind of got plans of an area and looked at, all the underground systems, and they may have done that, right? If a search team came here after I'd hidden a body, I'm going down this hill, they might look in the local woods because it's close to my house, and this is very close to my house. This is close to my house, and they'll start at the property and they'll fan out. But I wouldn't have hidden a body here. I wouldn't have been so stupid as to hide a body here. I'd use the plethora of disused tunnels. The tunnels are, some of them are all railway tunnels, some of them are where the rivers, the rivers go through. There's a tunnel, there's a river there. It's like a tributary, it goes into the main river a few miles that way. But this comes through my village and it goes under the field, the wheat field, which is in that direction. The river goes under the wheat field, and it goes through a tunnel. Now, that's easy to see at the point up there where the tunnel begins. What I'm saying is there's a lot of tunnels. Someone who knows that local area well, like Don, because it's his mother's property, he took over his mother's property, and he'll know the local area around it. Maybe Candace does as well, or maybe someone completely different who took summer knows the local area. My question is this: how many disused tunnels are there? Disused wells, disused quarries, cave networks, I'm pretty sure, because it's quite mountainous, that there's cave networks. If a body is hidden there, are they looking there, is my question. I made a video from here the other day, something like Into the Mind of the Perpetrator, and this is what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about. If you were the person hiding the body, where would you go? And maybe that's the search team's hunch, that they'd go in the woods. But I wouldn't. And maybe they are searching all of those places, but for strategic reasons they're not saying. Maybe they are, and that's great if they are. But they're only there for 2 days. Like they did the reconnaissance on Friday, and then they're only there for 2 days. So how much can they really cover in 2 days? I don't know, guys. I don't know. What we do know is that the kids, Summer's brothers, 3 brothers, were removed. It's confirmed by Don. He had a phone call with Jace for Justice, which she put online. I'll leave a link to that in the description box. And Don said that the boys were removed because he flipped out. He flipped out because he's drinking again. But he said he's not going to do it anymore. That's it, done, not going to do it anymore. Here's my concern, because I've always thought Don was innocent. Question mark now, because was he at work? Was he not? Had he flipped out the day that Summer went missing? Had he flipped out because Candice went off with Hunter? Do you see where I'm going with this? Did something accidentally happen to Summer because of a flip out? We know that Don has been arrested for DV only a few months ago. I'll put the screenshots of the police report and what Candice said, that she feared for herself and her children and her mother. I'm just speculating. Something else I've said in previous videos is they're very close to the state line. Close to Virginia, they're close to Kentucky, they're close to North Carolina. I think Virginia is very close. If I was in a kind of more organised fashion, that, you know, this was planned, and I wanted to dispose of her body, I'd go over the state line. She wouldn't be anywhere close. Go over the state line and look at the amount of terrain, and it makes me feel so despondent that Summer might never be brought home. Just the sheer amount of possibilities. But guys, let's not get too despondent, and let's keep Summer's name out there. And I'll reiterate what I've said, that if you're in Tennessee, if you're in Kentucky, Virginia, North Carolina, or even further afield, please remember Summer. Please keep her name out there. Pepper the area with information. That's all we can do. Cassie! That's all anybody can do at this stage. So, was this a flip out by Don that's responsible? Has Don just flipped out because, you know, it's nothing to do with Summer's disappearance, but he flipped out because he's so utterly depressed now? They want Candice to take another lie detector, but they have got a lawyer. Now, how good this lawyer is anyone's guess. I think there's more to this story. There's a lot more to this story. A lot more. Hopefully, whoever is responsible will crack. And on that note, I'm going to go. And I'll speak to you very soon. I'll be back tomorrow if there's more news. If there's no more news, then I'll take a couple of days off this case. So I'll speak whenever. Hope you're well. Bye, folks. Guys, I don't know what's wrong with my memory at the moment. It's pretty much shocking since I had COVID. And when I do these walks, I don't have notes, I just have an idea. But there was one really important thing that I wanted to cover that I just completely forgot. So I hope enough people have got to the end. Something that was said. Where was it said? Where was it said? Oh my God. My memory. But it was said, right, that there's a septic tank on the property under or near Grandma Candace's trailer, camper. Has that been checked? And I say this because of the Helen Bailey case. So it's a UK case, it's from 2016. Her first husband, who she'd been married to for many years, died in an accident, and she got in a new relationship, and the new guy, moved in with her into her house, beautiful house, and then one day she disappeared, and it took 4 days for this partner to ring 999 to report her missing. But it turns out, cut a long story short, 3 months later her body was recovered, and that of her little dog was recovered from the septic tank which was on the property, and it had been missed. Like the house, the property, everything had been searched extensively, like several times, and it was only when a neighbour said, "You have checked the septic tank, haven't you?" that her remains were recovered, because the searchers didn't know about the septic tank, because he put a truck or a car or something over the opening in the garage, so it just wasn't visible. There was no way it could be seen unless you knew it was there. So my question in the Summer case is, Summer might not have even made it to the woods. Yeah, I'm just throwing out a whole host of possibilities. Have they checked the septic tank? Can someone confirm whether or not they have? Anyway, this time I really am going to go. I'll speak soon. Bye, guys.